Hi, hi, my friends. It's good to see everyone. I have made a commitment that I'm going to go live once a week to talk about leadership and the tips and the things that are relevant now to make you a better leader, or why we need authenticity in our business. So bear with me because I'm kind of working through the glitches a little bit to do live stream on YouTube, but this is not going to be a forever gig. It's just really about getting used to it and trying new systems, right? Putting yourself out there and leading by example, which I think is super important. So today, what I want to talk to you about, which I'm really excited to talk to you about, is authenticity. But before we get into it, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Kristina Holle. I am a performance coach. I have my own coaching company where I help businesses create culture where people can thrive. And it's really important. Leadership is a huge part of that. So I help individual leaders and then I help organizations on a larger scale to get their culture in place so we can have everybody growing into these amazing leaders and having this amazing place to work. So, and also my background, I've got 25 years HR experience, senior leader roles, multiple organizations. So this is a bit of a pivot for me, but I've been coaching people for a very long time, especially in the leadership capacity. And then during COVID, I wrote a book, and this book is called The Authentic You: Unleash Your Leadership Potential. And I really want people to understand the importance of authenticity from a place of truth, right? Not just a checkbox, not something else that we say, oh, yeah, I'm authentic, I'm this, I'm that. It's really for your own benefit. If you really want to live your best life, authenticity is the place to be. And that means truly being in alignment with your truest self. So in order to get there, there's usually a lot of work that needs to be done, and it's not a quick fix. And authenticity is not walking in and just blasting people and saying, this is my truth, you need to listen to it. And that's not authenticity. Authenticity is being in alignment in your truest place, right? So when we are, that's when we're operating with confidence and we are self-assured and we can motivate and inspire. We can lead with empathy. There is this whole other place, right, where you're not competing the same way. You're operating at a whole different level because you know that you have amazing gifts and you understand what they are, and you can bring that to the organization or all parts of life. So this is the whole piece that I find extremely interesting for myself, is that I wrote a leadership book, but it's also about, you showing up and doing the self leadership and understanding who you are so you can show up as the best possible leader. Now, I find that people kind of have it backwards. They look at this and they're kind of, well, make me a leader, make me a leader, but they haven't looked at themselves entirely. And that's kind of like going to the gym and saying, hey, I want to be in the best possible shape ever, but you can only work out on my arms. And that's it. But I want the whole thing. Well, it doesn't work that way. And your journey to your best self is the exact same example. You have to be able to integrate and see all parts of your story in order to really be in a place of authenticity. And when you are, it is the best possible place to be. And I know from personal experience that took a while for me to get there. But now that I'm here, I want to help everyone understand the benefits of getting there. Because when you are aligned in your own personal truth, and you can show up in a way where you're integrated and you're not hiding anymore, and you actually can tap into your gifts that you have that you probably don't even know that you have, because you might be living someone else's life, the expectations, the conditioning, everything that has been told to us about who we're supposed to be, instead of actually aligning into your own personal gifts as to who you are meant to be and what you're to bring to this world. So from my perspective, it's interesting. We talk about leadership in the organization, but I truly believe that this is a personal journey and that you have to discover who you are and then you bring it into leadership style. And if you are an authentic leader, quotation leader, then you really have all parts of your life. You're showing up as a leader in all parts of your life. Maybe you're a coach, you're a leader in your family. There's all these pieces that come together. It's not just a work thing. So that's what the benefit when you really understand who you are and you unleash these amazing gifts that you have within, then you can do some amazing things in your life and you can find fulfillment and happiness. And guess what? You're going to show up at work in that same space. So why wouldn't you do it? So the part about going on the journey, the authentic journey, which I'll talk about on another live, is extremely powerful because it's one of those things that it teaches you how to start to reconnect, how to go and do the work, the quotation, the work. You'll probably hear people say that a lot. And, the feedback that I've even had through some the coaching is like, how do I do the work? Show me, Kristina. And I love that because if you're willing to go there, it is the most priceless experience ever. And it just is this beautiful road discovery into your own personal truth and your authenticity. And when you show up that way, nobody can take that from you. It's just how you are, it's how you tick, and that's it. So why wouldn't you want to be that and then bring that into work? So let's get into today's topic, which is bringing authentic leaders into work. So authentic leaders are not positional leaders. I'll tell you that. You will know when you've met an authentic person. I call them the authentics. Because they stand out. They're warm. They are people that have a tendency to just attract others in because of their overall confidence. There's no ego in play. Okay. So the contrast to authenticity, there you go, is your ego, right? So if you are very ego driven, you may not be coming across as authentic. So if you think of that as a scale, be mindful of how that looks. And that sometimes that's a lot of work that I got to do with people is like help them see, oh my gosh, who's showing up? Is it your authentic self or is it your ego? And the ego will always love to jump in and will always try to win. So I just want to put that one out there. Let's get into today's topic. As you can see, I'm really excited about this and I could talk about this forever. So the benefits of having authentic leaders in your organizations. One, first and foremost, they automatically create an environment that's open to trust and develops trust and open communication. And people like to be around them. So if you have leaders that are authentic in your organization, then they're leading by example. And they're going to really generate this amazing vibe with the group where they're constantly wanting to create and they want to communicate. And it's a healthy organization. Okay. The second one is it also inspires, you have leaders that are authentic, it inspires creativity and innovation. So why wouldn't you want that in your organization? An authentic leader is not trying to steal ideas or tell you their only idea that it's the only way to be. They're actually very open, like I said before, but they promote creativity. They promote innovation because they encourage people to do that stuff. They're not threatened. So they might pull everyone into a room and they're like, hey guys, like, let's see what goes. And they will be willing to try new things because they're confident in who they are. They see the bigger picture. They're operating in a whole different level. Like I said before, not ego driven. So sometimes if we're too ego driven, which I've seen in the past, people can be like, well, that's my idea. Or no, that's not a good idea. My idea is better. That's all ego speak. And you don't want that because that doesn't generate more creativity. It actually shuts people down and they won't want to participate the way that they could be. Something to think about. So the next one is that they, because they can recognize it in themselves, authentic leaders can recognize strengths and weaknesses in others because they can recognize it in themselves. They do not operate in a way where they're about, hey, I'm perfect and you have to be like this. They're actually quite open and understanding. And because they've connected with themselves, they can easily connect with other people. If you don't know how to connect yourself, then and then we try to put you in a leadership role to connect with other people, you might struggle. And a lot of people don't even realize that that could be the case. They're like, okay, well, I'm a leader, I have the position, so you need to listen to me. Well, the problem is that is more of the traditional mindset, but things are shifting. People want to be inspired and motivated while they're at work. So really, we should be shifting this to, being more open and motivating, and with leaders that have connected with themselves so they can just show up well. And that's inspiring in itself, and how they particularly show up, how they speak, how they look at life, how they look at adversity. Do they bounce back? Are they open? Like, I know with people that I've worked with, I was like, I will never get mad at you for a mistake. But did you learn from it? Did you learn from it? If you keep coming back and you didn't learn anything, then that could be a problem because we didn't get to the root cause. But if you are constantly putting yourself in a place where, if you're a leader, where you're like, I'm open, that's okay to make a mistake. Let's see how we can be better. Let's see what we can learn. How can we pivot? That is very encouraging for your team or teams out there to keep exploring and experimenting even more. So another one, I guess it kind of goes into the one before, but authentic leaders build relationships. They are relationship builders, and you want that in your organization. When you have a strong relationship with the people in your organization, that's what keeps them. That's what keeps them there and engaged and happy to be there and wanting to do more. So when you're mindful of that, I think it's extremely powerful. But if you don't have the right leaders in place, that has a direct impact. The saying of, people leave bosses, not jobs. That's a true thing. I've seen it happen. So how are you engaging with your folks? Is there a relationship there? And I think it's really important, because if you're an authentic leader, you're going to know how to connect with people. You're going to be able to read a room. You're going to be able to see things at a different level, and you'll be leading that way, which I think is amazing. Then another one I would say is that authentic leaders also know how to respect and value people, because they respect and value themselves. And when that happens, they are showing up in your organization in a completely different way. They are bringing a different dynamic. So can you imagine if you had multiple authentic leaders in your organization, what magic would happen? How productive the workforce would be? They would be inspired. They would be happy to be there. They would be much more productive and wanting to do more. If you have leaders in place that are the wrong types of leaders, that are more ego-driven, and I've seen them throughout my history of over 25 years in different places, where they don't know how to inspire. It's quite flat. And when it does, unfortunately, that trickles down to the rest of the team. And I would say authenticity as you move forward is a very important piece to the structure in your organizations, that you want authentic leaders. You want people who can inspire and pump others up. It's almost like having a coach within the organization. How do you do that where it is inspiring to get the team to do more in a great way, like where it's enjoyable and fun? And I will say now, with the way the trends of people and the silent quitting and great resignation, and we can name all of them, there is a different dynamic that needs to come into play. And I'm telling you that what I've seen, if you have authentic leaders, the right leaders in your organization, it could be a game changer. because they are going to change the entire dynamic. It's very, very similar to a hockey team. If you switch out a couple of players on the team, you could have a high performing team very easily. But they have to be the right players. If you switch out the wrong players in the team, people that aren't connected to themselves or connected to empathy or all this great stuff, that actually can have an impact as well. So, these are things to be mindful of as we're kind of moving forward. I'm a strong believer that authentic leaders are necessary in order for organizations to really thrive. So, you either are an authentic leader and you're good, or you have to go on that self-discovery, because everybody has the capability of getting there. But it's just kind of putting the work in to really be like, wow, I am X, Y, and Z, and you're totally confident and you show up in a completely different way. So I think that there's value in having these folks in your organization. They also foster leadership, collaboration. They encourage teamwork. They are not about just me. It's more of the collective we. How do we win as a team? How do we, excel with these goals or deliverables? They will get input from other people because they're not threatened. They know what their offering is. And that is what the value is in having them in your organization, because they are not sitting there in a way where they are making others feel uncomfortable or that they can't speak, or, they are actually encouraging growth. And I will tell you, from a statistical standpoint, if your people are happy at work, they are 25% more productive, right? I can speak to that personally. If I like where I'm working, I'm going to be jazzed and excited about going to work on a Monday, not dreading it. And when we understand that, that is pretty amazing. Now, the other thing that has really come through for me that I want to share with the group is that organizations, so leadership, I believe, is an individual thing. Individuals own leadership, right? Who am I as an individual? How do I show up? How am I going to develop myself? But the organizations, if you really want to be progressive and productive, you create the space. You create the space for leaders to grow. That's it. People can't go, you didn't develop me, you didn't do this. People have to own their own development. But what kind of space have you created for those folks to grow? Right? Do you have authentic leaders in there who are encouraging growth for like different types of growth, right? Growth doesn't have to be in one direction. It can be multifaceted. It's so exciting when you really think about all the options, but that is really important. You have to understand that it's not a one way of leading. We need to be much more open. So when we have, I'm going to repeat it again, leadership development is really on the individual. Okay. How am I going to develop? Am I going to do the work, right? Or am I going to pick up another book and you're going to give me 5 steps about how great I am, and that is not sustained? What I'm talking about is sustained development, personal development for your growth in all parts of your life. This is not just work. This is leadership in all parts of your life. Think about that. So when the individual does the work, the authentic you work, that's from my perspective, when you align with who you are, then the organizations, if we set them up properly, they create the space and they just keep nurturing. It's much like it's like a garden. Like if you're putting, the right kind of soil together and you plant the seeds, then your environment is just as important for that potential growth. So something to think about there. And I think that there's 2 other points that I want to say why it's worthwhile to have authentic leaders in your organization. One, they inspire and they motivate. And that's what we were talking about before, the inspiration. I have seen a lot of people who don't know how to inspire, and that's because they don't know how to inspire themselves. So that is a really important piece, because you can't just put people together and be like, inspire and motivate and be great. You need authentic leaders that know how to do it for themselves, how to step into this place and that beautiful place of authenticity, because they found their own personal truth. They know what they're supposed to offer, and they can encourage others to do the same. That is amazing. They have owned their stories. So I truly believe that by owning your story, all of it, where there's adversities and hardships, that is where the inspiration lies. And when that happens, that is pretty incredible, because you sit there and you can start to see a whole other side of yourself that you may have been hiding. And I can speak about that personally, but I will do that on another live. So they can inspire and motivate, and they truly engage your team at a whole different level. So I just wanted to share that today, because I think there's such value in having authentic leaders in your organization and really understanding what it is. It's not people that are running around saying, I'm authentic, because if you're authentic, you don't need to tell anyone that you're authentic. You just show up that way. So these are things that you want to keep in mind, because they're extremely powerful. So if this resonates with you, be sure to give me a follow, because I share more tips and tricks about getting to your best self, getting your organization, getting your leadership tapped in, and really showing up in your best way. I truly believe it's important. The more we can start getting people to understand, be who you're supposed to be, and feel great about it, and inspire other people, because you will be inspired yourself. So if that resonates with you, again, please give me a follow. And remember, the feedback I got before, I should be doing these live streams more often. You will definitely get the authentic Kristina. So I hope it's good, but I just want to make sure I can get this message out to as many people as possible, because I think that we've got some work to do with what organizations really should be valuing on a much bigger scale, because it's a benefit to everyone. So I will leave it at that. Thank you for dropping in today, and I will talk to you soon. Okay, bye.